Okay, let's get this started. All right, guys. Hello, hello, hello. Just give me 1 second here. And we are starting. Okay, can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me okay? All right, let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Wonderful. Okay, guys, can you guys see Mr. Jordan Maxwell and can you see me? Okay, great. All right. So, guys, tonight we have one of the foremost researchers before your David Icke, before your Ted Gunderson, before I forgot his name with Area 51. I can't even remember his name. What is his name? With Area 51. Okay, before a lot of the so-called awakened truthers, before all of this, there was Jordan Maxwell. Okay, and Jordan Maxwell is the one who introduced the world to David Icke. He was the one that brought David Icke on the scene. Okay, this man, if you don't know who he is, you need to get a pen and paper and you need to go look him up. This is one of the foremost researchers on everything that goes down on this planet, from your extraterrestrial, from religion. Okay, your religions are under astrotheology. Okay, to banks, finance, everything that affects life on this planet. This man has researched it all. And before any of the truth community, your conscious community, your awakened community, before Alex Jones, okay, and the forerunner to Alex Jones, I can't even remember their names right now, there was Jordan Maxwell. Okay. And tonight we have him on this show. And what he's going to talk about tonight is maritime law. There's two parts to the show. We're going to be discussing maritime law and we're going to be discussing marine kingdom and how they go together. Mr. Maxwell is going to join us tonight. He's going to speak for an hour, but he's agreed to come back on the show and we're going to be discussing all things esoteric. So guys, you want to like this video, you want to share this video, you want to hit the like button, you want to subscribe, and you want to support us, okay? And we also, I spoke to Mr. Maxwell because I said to him, I said, look, I told him, I said, this is a black YouTube channel and we're trying to get Credo Mutwa on here. And he was like, he'll try to make it happen. Okay, he's a really, really cool guy. All right, and this is someone you want to know. Okay, so Mr. Jordan Maxwell, we introduced you. It seems like everyone knows who you are.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me to be on the show and thinking about me. I appreciate it. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
So let the people know who don't know you, who you are, how long you've been doing this. I told them, I said, before they had, your Credo Mutua, before David Icke, before Alex Jones, before the Truth Movement, before the Awakened Movement, before the Conscious Movement, there was Jordan Maxwell. Tell us who you are, tell us your background, how long you've been doing this, and introduce yourself to the global Black family. Take it away, Mr. Maxwell.
Thank you very much again for allowing me to be with you. And do I look all right? Because I don't want to scare any children in the audience with an old man.
No, 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 no. Go for it, Mr. Maxwell. Go for it.
Okay. I started my career of doing what I do back in 1959. That was 4 years before the assassination of John Kennedy, some 60 years ago. Because all of my life as a child, I always realized and I understood very early in life that adults are only telling you what they've heard. They don't know anything. They just tell you what they think and what they've heard somebody else say. And so when I would ask adults questions, they would give me their opinions. And then I would ask other adults, and they would give me a different opinion. So it didn't take me long to figure out the whole world is filled with people's opinions. But nobody seems to know what the hell is really going on, because the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and people are going to jail. And the whole world is so screwed up today, it's so confused and so confounded and confused in criminality that nobody seems to have a handle on anything. So at a very early age, I began to become fascinated with what's the word I'm looking for? Mysteries, because I knew that there are lies and deceptions everywhere, and I knew that the adults don't have any answers. Why? Because they don't understand what's going on. So I wanted to devote my life to all the dark mysteries of the world. Where does money come from? Who runs government? Why do you have churches? Why do we have to live with police? Where do these words come from? Where do the ideas come from for colleges, universities, military, banking? Why do you have to go to a bank? Banks are on both sides of a river. They're called river banks. What does a river bank do? It directs the flow of the currency. Your money is currency. It's an ebb and flow of water. It's an incredible story when you start looking at the mysteries of the world that you live in, and how much we have not been told about how this world actually works. Let me give you an example. As a child, when I was 8 and 9 years old, I was a Catholic. I was born and raised in a Catholic family. And we were told in the Catholic school, the nuns told us in school that there was going to be a special mass, a special meeting in the church for us children, and it's called confirmation service. And we were told that at the confirmation service, the bishop would be here, which means everybody in town is going to be here because the bishop's in town. And so the nuns told us that tomorrow night in church, all of you children are going to be in the church, and when the bishop is through with the service, he may possibly ask you if you have a question about your religion now that you're being confirmed as a Catholic. And if you have any questions, you remember, you don't ask any questions. You keep your mouth shut. And I thought to myself, even at 8 years old, you know who you're talking to? My mama don't even tell me to keep my mouth shut. I don't know who the hell you think you are to tell me to keep my mouth shut. I don't keep my mouth shut by nothing. I do my own thinking at 8 years old. And so that next night, when the service was over, the bishop did ask the children in the church, if you have any questions you'd like for me to try and answer, maybe I can answer them, maybe not. Is there any questions? And so I raised my hand and I stood up because I wanted everybody to see it's me. I'm the one that's asking the question. And so I said, Bishop, my father works with torches. He's like a welder. He works with torches. And sometimes he lets me hold a torch while it's burning. So I know about torches. I know what they can do. And I said, suppose I had a torch in my hand and an angel appeared to me from God. God sent an angel to me. And if the angel appeared to me while I got the torch in my hand, could I hit the angel with the torch? Would it hurt him if I burned him? And he said, no. And I said, why not? It burns everybody else. Why wouldn't it hurt the angel? He said, no. And with an angel is a spirit. With fire, you have to have wood or plastic or paper or something that will burn. But you can't burn an angel. And I said, why not? And he said, because angels are spirits. You can't even see a spirit, much less burn one. So I said, why can't I burn a spirit? He said, because there are spirits. You can't burn a spirit. That's it. And I said, well, then why am I worried to go to hell and worrying about going to hell where my spirit will burn? You can't burn a spirit. And everybody in the church looked at each other like a deer in the headlights. Nobody knew. Nobody ever thought to ask that question. If you can't burn a spirit, then what are you talking about going to hell where your spirit's going to burn if you can't burn a spirit? And so I realized at that moment, nobody in this church is thinking. And when everybody believes the same thing, that means nobody's questioning nothing. So I started questioning everything. Money. I mean, the first thing I did was start putting Alka-Seltzer in the holy water. So that scared the pea wads out of everybody. They see bubbling. I tell them that's the Lord Jesus in the holy water. And people have no idea in the world. They're adults and they have no idea in the world what I'm doing. And so I decided a long time ago that the adults are nothing more than grown up children. Their bodies are bigger than I am, but their brains are still a 5-year-old. They still think like a kid. They go along to get along because everybody else is doing something. They want to do it too. Children like to be loved by their friends. They want to be helped by their friends. They want to have the acceptance of their friends. Nobody wants to go through life with no friends. And so I realize if you're going to start asking questions like I do, you're not going to have too many friends. You're not going to have a happy life like a normal man. So just get ready for it. And so I did. By the time I reached 19 years old, I already pretty well knew the world I live in is filled with lies and deception. So I began doing some serious research into how this work and this world really works. And I will tell you that nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. The police are not here to do what you think they do. Banks are not here to do what you think they do. Nothing is here to do what you think they do. It's a whole different story on the inside. Like the comedian George Carlin said, the people who run this planet, it's a big club and you ain't in it. So once you understand how the big club works, then you're going to understand why it is you stay in trouble all your life. You can't pay this, you can't pay that, you got this problem, you got that problem, you got to go to court for this, and you got to go to court for that. Why do you go to court? Because you play basketball on a court. You play tennis on a court. How do you play tennis on a court? You play with a racket. Wake up. There are words out there that mean things, that people don't understand words. And so therefore, we are word control humans. Most people do not realize that they don't realize the world they're living in. For instance, let me tell you something. You cannot pay a bill in North America. We say things like we need to pay this bill or pay that bill. You cannot pay a bill. In court, the judge would tell you, you cannot pay a bill. You can discharge a debt, but you cannot pay a bill. Why? Because nobody owns anything in North America, period. Nobody owns anything because you don't understand the way money works. Let me explain briefly how money works. Suppose you are a painting contractor and I ask you to come paint my office. You come over, look the job over, and you give me an estimate. You tell me it costs $100 to paint my office, and I agree. Now we're talking business. You are a contractor by the state, and we're talking business. So you give me a bill for $100. So when you're through with the job, what do? You come to me with a piece of paper as a contract and as a bill for $100. And you're expecting me to give you $100. So I reach in my pocket and I pull out $100 and I hand it to you. What did I just do? I paid you? No, I didn't pay you anything. Zero you got from me. You gave me a bill for $100. I gave you a $100 bill. Now, get it? If you had given me a bill for $20, I'd reach in and I'd give you a $20 bill. That's why it's called a $20 bill, a $100 bill, because it's a bill. It's a bank note. You now owe me. You owe me 100 because I gave you a $100 bill. You gave me a $100 bill. What the hell with you? I give you a $100 bill. So now you owe me 100 and I owe you 100. So why don't we just keep a record of it? Who paid who? And that's it. I don't owe you nothing. You owe me, and I owe you. So we don't owe nobody. I don't owe you nothing. You don't owe me nothing. We're even. Why? Because you gave me a bill, and I paid it off with a bill. So that means you don't own anything. Why? Because you never paid for anything. Unless you buy your home, your car, your boat, or anything that's big like that, unless you buy something of importance like your home with an allodial title. It's called Allodial, allodial. Allodial title means you own it, period. God cannot take it from you. The Queen of England cannot touch it. The United Nations can't touch it. Nobody can touch anything that has an allodial title. And so you don't have anything that's allodial title because people are taking stuff from you every day. They could take your house, they could take your children, they could take your car if you don't pay for. They can take anything they want from you in the government. Why? Because you don't own anything allodial title. So to understand how the world really works, you need to go back to the Roman Empire. Thousands of years ago, it was decided in the Middle East, it was decided that there were only two things on this earth, land and water. That's the only thing there is, land and water. So the Romans developed a system of law, which was called the law of the land and the law of water. So there are two kinds of law on the earth, the law of the land and the law of the sea. The law of the land means it's the law of the people who live on a particular piece of land. If you're in Africa, you need to live like the Africans, dress like the Africans, and eat like them because that's their custom. And if you don't like that, then get out of Africa and go home and go live the way you live. So that's why we're told, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Why? Because it's the law of the land. The land is where the people live. But there's a bigger law that's much bigger. It's called the law of the sea, the law of water. And this law of water is banking law, money. Money is considered to be banking law. All right, it's the law of the sea. That's why we say money goes through your hands like water. No, money is water by law. Maritime Admiralty, British banking law is the law of water. Why? Because your body is 80% water. And when you came out of your mother's birth canal, you were in water. And when her water broke, you came out to life. This is why Christians get baptized. When you want to be born again, well, how were you born the first time? You were born out of your mother's water. When her water broke, you came out to life. So if you want to be born again, you go back into your mother's water. Mother Earth, Mother Nature. You go back into your mother. The mother gave birth to you. The earth is where you come from. From dust you are, to dust you will return. So you go back into your mother's water and you go under the water and then you come out just the way you did when you were a baby. Now you're born again. People don't realize these are just words and terms and symbols that are based on ancient things that you didn't know nothing about. And so when you go into a bank, you put your money in a bank. As I said, it's called a river bank. River banks direct the flow of the currency because your money is considered liquid assets. Liquid assets. It's like water. And as I said, money goes through your hands like water. No, It's the ebb and flow. When the sea comes in, the waves come in, the waves go out. The waves come in, the waves go out. And so it's a continual exchange. You got money coming in, yeah, but the money's going out. Money comes in, but it goes out just as easy. So it's an ebb and flow of a currency. And so our whole banking system is based on something called British. British, the word Brit is B-R-E-T, Beret. A berith in Hebrew is a contract. And men, M-E-N in Hebrew, man or min is I-S-H. Are you able to hear me well? Okay. Man is ish, I-S-H in Hebrew. And therefore, berith is a contract. So if you're going to buy a new car in Israel, you're going to sign a berith. A berith is a contract. Well, it's a contract, it's a berith. And so we have something called a British, B-R-I-T-I-S-H. British is a berith-ish, the man of the contract, or men who write contracts. That's why in America, you're going to buy anything, you sign a contract. That's berith-ish, maritime admiralty law, because you came out of water and your body is 80% water, how your mother's water broke. So the whole reason why you're here is because of water. And so that's the way the banking law works. It's a banking law, works on water. Let me give you an example. When a ship comes from, say, Japan to America, and it's got $800 million worth of TVs or automobiles or whatever is coming here, in the morning when you were at work, there was no ship here. The next day you go in and there's a ship from Japan sitting here. So it has just arrived. So therefore, on that ship is $800 million worth of business. And so that ship where it's sitting at the dock is sitting at the dock, and where it's sitting is called its berth. So if you're going to catch a ship somewhere, you got to find out where she's berthed at, where she's sitting. So the ship is sitting at the dock in its berth, B-E-R-T-H, a berth. And every piece of item that comes off that ship that's being brought here for us to buy, every piece must be accounted for. It has to have its own certificate of manifest, because yesterday it wasn't here, but today it's here, so it's manifested. So where's the certificate? How old is it? How big is it? What does it weigh? What color is it? Does it have 4 doors or 2 doors? Is it white or black, or where is it from? Is it Toyota? Is it American? So you got to have all of that information on the certificate of manifest. Why? Because it's coming off the ship in her birth. So that's called a birth certificate. And this is why when you were born, you get a birth certificate, because your mother was a ship. And your father, he was the one who manufactured. The male in the marriage manufactures. The mother is in labor. She's building the product he manufactured. He's the one that manufactured, and the woman is producing the product. And there ain't going to be no human race without the woman, because if she don't produce, there ain't nobody. And so therefore, your mother is referred to as Mother Earth, Mother Nature. She is the one who brings you into the world. Now, it's very important for you to keep in mind that all ships, rocket ships, sailing ships, airships, it doesn't matter. If it's a ship, all ships must have a captain. Why? Because they are in charge of the capital. Capital is money. Either you have the capital to buy something or you don't. Capital is money, and therefore all ships have a captain, because he is responsible for the money that's on board. If he's on a cruise ship, he's responsible to make sure you get where you're going and come back safely. Why? Because you paid thousands of dollars to be on that ship. So he's got money involved in you. And money's involved with you. He is the captain that's watching over the capital. And so when the ship pulls in, it parks at the dock, and therefore every item has to have its own birth certificate. That's why you have to have a birth certificate when you're born, and it's got to be signed by who? By the dock. The dock has to sign your birth certificate. So why? Because you are nothing more than a maritime admiralty product. That's all you ever been. That's all you are now. That's all you're ever going to be. You came out of water, and from water you came out. Your body is 80% water, and you spend money like water. And so the whole operation of a human life on this earth is based on water. Once you understand that, then you understand the word bank, a river bank. And so the whole idea is that the world we live in is based on water. It's money, banking law. All over the world, you can get a credit card and go anywhere else and spend money. It doesn't matter what color, what race, what creed, what country. It don't matter. You got a credit card, it's money. You don't have it, you ain't got no money. And so that's why when you get someone to do something for you, you give them a check, and then they give you a check. And they give you something back. You gave me a bill for $100. I gave you $100 bill. So no money changed hands. Money, according to the law, is gold and silver coin. I didn't give you any gold coins or silver coins. I gave you a check. I gave you a $20 bill. I gave you a $100 bill. I didn't give you any silver or gold. So I never paid you anything. You were never paid. So the only thing anybody got was your labor. You gave your labor. And I balanced that out with the cash I gave you. So I never paid you anything. That means you don't own anything. So that's the name of that tune. And so why do you have police? Why is there a police department? It's because the United States of America, that was founded back in 1776, way a long time ago, when the United States of America was founded back in 1776, we were a republic. The country was called a republic. But after the Civil War in 1860s, there was a civil war in America. And we are told it was far more bloodier than anything America's ever been in before. There was a lot of bloodshed in this country. The blacks and the whites, the North against the South, the Republicans against Democrats. There was a lot of war and violence and bloodshed. Why? So it was decided that after the Civil War was over, the Supreme Court decided that there will no longer be on the earth a United States of America, because the country of North America is a lot of things, but united ain't one of them. We were not united, and we're not united now. There's a lot of hatred going on between the peoples of this country. Different reasons: cowboys against Indians, blacks against whites, all different kinds of animosities and people hating each other. So we're not united. We've never been united. We're not united now. And so why? And so what are you going to do with the people of this country after the Civil War? So it was decided by the international bankers, the Rockefellers, the J. Paul Gettys, the international banking elite, the Rothschilds, the guys who ran this country and who founded it for the money and by the money and of the money. The people who founded this country decided, well, if there's not going to be any more United States because we're not united, then how are we going to run this damn country? How are you going to run it? There is no country. There's no law. So they decided what we're going to do is we will no longer use the United States of America. It doesn't exist. There is no United States. So what we will do is we're going to form a company, a corporation, and we bankers will own the corporation. It will be a corporation under international law called the United States Incorporated. It's going to be a privately owned company by the bankers. It's called a municipal corporation. It's going to be a corporation. So therefore, if anybody, according to the corporate plans, if you are a corporation, the United States is a corporation, and you say, if you're being asked, are you a U.S. citizen? And you say, yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. That means you're not a citizen of the United States of America under the Republic. You're a U.S. citizen means you are a citizen of a corporation that was incorporated in Delaware in the 1860s. 1860s, after the Civil War, there was a corporation founded, and you just said, that's why when the judge asks you, a cop asks you, are you a U.S. citizen? You say yes. That's what they wanted to hear, because you have now, out of your own mouth, said, yes, you are a member of the corporation. The corporation is called United States, and the United States Corporation appointed me to be a law officer. So therefore, you're under my law. I don't give a damn what you think, and you don't have no damn privileges. You don't have no rights. So don't tell me in no courtroom about your right. You don't have no rights. You are an employee of a foreign corporation called United States Company, the corporation. That's why when I see you come out of a restaurant at 2 o'clock in the morning with some guy you're with, and I call you the next day and I say, you know that guy you were with last night? Yeah, I saw you with him. He is bad company. You better watch out for him. He's bad company. And you say to me, mind your own business. Business, company, and then I find out you're going to get married and he's going to be your partner. What are you talking about? Partner, business, company. Sounds like business to me. And thank God what you're doing ain't none of my business. And who I'm sleeping with ain't none of your business. It's just a business. You don't think so? Wait till that business don't work out. You're not going to God. You're going to court. You better bring your house and your money and everything else you think you own, like your children, because it's a business. Do you understand how the world works now? It's all a business. Do we have a few more moments?
Yeah, absolutely. So someone asked if they can ask you a question. Is that open? Is that
Yeah.
okay, Maxwell? Anyone have questions to ask Mr. Maxwell? Okay, so guys, you see, we're not making this up. What runs the planet is maritime law. You got to get this, maritime law. And that's one area where we fail. We do not trade. Mr. Maxwell, so what country is the biggest country right now that is moving on the seas? What country in terms of productivity? Some would say it's China.
All countries on the earth,
Mm-hmm.
all countries on the earth are corporations. They are owned by someone. They're corporations. The United States is a corporation. China is a corporation. Islam is a corporation. It's a company. You don't think so? Mess with them on the stock market and see what happens to you. Christianity, the Vatican is a corporation. They got a corporate head. United States, all corporations have to have a president. So we got a president. And all corporations have to have a vice president. So, okay, so we got a vice president. But corporate law says all corporations must have a secretary treasurer. Well, then we got a secretary treasurer of our corporation. But here's the point. Corporations cannot make laws. That's very important to remember, that a corporation cannot make a law. They can only have a policy. They cannot have a law, because the first time you read in the paper that Sears or General Motors has come out with a law, and the law says all people in America have to do this, this, and that. Who says so? General Electric or General Motors says so. Ford Motor Company says so. You say, what are you talking about? Ford Motor Company make a law. Ford Motor Company is not empowered to make laws. You better go back and do your homework, friend. Ford Motor Company don't run this country. They don't have any laws. They can't make any laws. But if you go to work for Ford Motor Company, they do have a certain control over you. They'll tell you what time to be there, what time to go home, when you can have lunch, and how long, how many breaks you can take. Those are not laws. God didn't write that. God didn't say you have to be to work at 7. Ford Motor Company said it. So it's not a law. It's a policy. And so when you buy a pair of shoes from Sears or some big department store, and after a week you bring it back and you want your money back, they will not say, no, this is a law. The law says you cannot bring this back. And the law says I cannot give you any money back. No, the law don't say nothing. But it is the policy of the corporation. They will tell you, our policy is not to do this or that. And we can't do that because it's not our policy. Well, suppose you say, I don't care what your policy is. I don't live by your policy. I don't work for this company. Your policy don't mean nothing to me. Well, how is the company going to back up? How are they going to back up their policy? How are they going to back it up? With arm or with strength? How are they going to back up their policy? They're going to have police back up the policy, spelled the same way. That's why you don't have lawmakers in Washington, D.C. You have policy makers. And the name of our government today is public policy. Why? Because they will decide what they want to do with the corporation, and you go along with it because you're an employee of a company, a corporation. So they're not telling you what you have to do. They're just suggesting you want to be a part of this country. Yeah, then you do what we tell you to do. It's our policy. If you don't like the policy, we'll send out the police to show you that we are backing up our policy with arms, with people with guns. It's our policy that you need to mind your business and stay out of the streets and don't give the government any problems, because if we catch you out on the streets with a riot, we're going to deal with you, because that's our policy, is to keep everything peaceful. They're called peace officers, and we don't want people out in the street rioting, because that's not good for our business. So that's why we have police. They back up the policy by the police. So it's a very interesting way of looking at the world, how the world really works. Banks, religions, government. Christianity is a corporation. It was incorporated in the Vatican. Back in many hundreds of years ago, the Vatican incorporated. It became a company. It became a big company. And that's why today, even in America, you have the Marine Corps. Corps is short for corporation. This is why when you die, you are a corpse. But while you were alive, you were a corporation. And so that's why you were a corpse. Well, now you're a corporation, but you're out of business. You're defunct and you're out of business.
Mr. Maxwell, we have a question. So Habibi Jan asked, what are they doing with all the profits of the business of humans?
They are operating dark, secret projects that cost trillions of dollars to do. Trillions of dollars. Big projects, major projects, so big you've never heard of them before. And that's why they need the money. They need the money because each one of our bodies, that's another point I didn't bring up yet. Your physical body is a security on the New York Stock Exchange. You're worth about $6.5 million to $7 million. If you call the stock market, there's a certain place you call in New York to the stock market to find out what a particular stock is worth. And you call them and you tell them, I was cleaning my grandmother's garage and I happened to find an old piece of paper, and it's a security on the stock exchange. And I want to know, is it valuable? Is it of any value? I don't know. Can you tell me? And they will say, give us the stock number. And you give them the number on the back of your Social Security card. Your Social Security card has numbers on the back. You give them the numbers on the back of the Social Security card, and they will come back and say, "Oh yes, that's worth $6.5 million." To who? Who owns it? And they will give you your name. They'll give you your name, and then you say that I am so and so. It's on the back of my Social Security card. That's me. Are you telling me I got $6.5 million? They'll say that's right. You got $6.5 million on the New York Stock Exchange. Well, then what are you worried about paying off your house for and paying off your plane and your jet and your boat for if you got $6.5 million on the stock market, for God's sakes? Why are they taking your house from you? If you can't pay for your house, you can't pay for your car, why don't you just pay the damn thing off with the $6.5 million you got on the stock market? Well, the reason you don't is because you didn't even know you had $6.5 million on the stock market. You didn't even know how it works. And they don't want you to know. It's a big club and you ain't in it. But that's how the big wealthy guys in this country buy the hotels and the airlines and buy all this stuff, because they know they're worth $6.5 million on the stock market. They want to buy something that's cost $5 million. They just pick up the phone and say, "Sell off $5 million of my stock." Now you only got $1.5 million left. It doesn't matter. I just spent $5 million. I'll take care of the other $1.5 million later. That's how people with the big money run business from behind the scenes on the stock market, because they know things you don't know, and they're not about to tell you. They can use you. They will buy and sell you. Now, when you cross the border and from Mexico into America, you think you're being clever, that you're coming into the United States of America. But you're not coming into the United States of America. You're coming into a privately owned company, like Ford Motor Company. You want to break in the window at night at Ford and come into the building at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we have in-house security. We have security for that. We catch you in this building at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't invite you in, you don't work here, you're in trouble. And that's why there's a problem at the border, because people think they're coming into the United States of America. They're going to eat well, going to make a lot of money. No, you ain't making nothing. Nobody invited you to come in here. This is our company. We own it. It's a corporation. And therefore, if we have to kill you, you'll be a corpse. You'll be a corpse. You'll be out of business. So that's what's going on here, is people are coming across the border into a privately owned company called United States Corporation. And if you are a corporation, you're coming into somebody else's corporation, they can put a lien on you. If you hire me to paint your home and you don't pay me when I'm through, I could put a lien on your property. Do you know that? It's called a mechanic's lien. I can put a lien on your property with the bank, which means you can't do nothing with your house unless you pay me. Why? Because I have a lien on the house. Therefore, if you're coming into this country and making money and nobody invited you here, and you just come across and making money, then you become known as an alien. An alien. Why? Because we put a lien on you. You are referred to as the alien. You are a lien has been put on you. You need to understand how the world of mankind actually works. It don't work like you think it does. We could talk for hours about courts and judges, and why do judges wear black robes? The same reason why Catholic priests wear black robes. Same reason why Jewish rabbis wear black robes, and Darth Vader wears a black robe. And all the demons in movies wear black robes, right? You got Dracula wears a black robe, but so does the judge wear a black robe. He's there wearing the same black robe that Dracula's wearing, because somebody's going to die tonight. And so that's why black robes represent the planet Saturn. Saturn was referred to in the ancient world as Lord of the Rings. Of course, Saturn is the Lord of the rings around Saturn. He's Lord of the Rings. So therefore, the ancient peoples in the Middle East called the Phoenician Canaanites, we call them Jewish people today. They're not Jewish, they're Phoenician Canaanites. We call them Jews. And so today the Jews are still making movies about their God. Their God is Saturn, Lord of the Rings. So that's why Hollywood is making Lord of the Rings. Something else you need to know, and keep this in mind. In Europe, America was first colonized by Europeans. The Europeans came from north, east, west, and southern Europe. All over Europe, they all ganged up together, got in a boat, and came over here and settled in America. And so they were called Europeans. Now, in Europe, way before the Roman Empire even existed, there was already what we call white folks in America. Well, there were already white folks in Europe. They were called Europeans. And they were referred to not as Europeans back then, thousands of years ago. They were called Celtic Druids. Druid. And so Celtic Druids were very powerful people in Europe. They controlled the banks, the law, government, religion, doctors. I mean, anybody who's anybody in Europe was a Celtic Druid, a Celtic Druid. One of the most important symbols in the white man's world of Europe, thousands of years ago before the Roman Empire, one of the most important symbols for power was a magic wand, like Merlin the magician with his magic wand, Mickey Mouse with his magic wand, and orchestra leaders today leading the orchestra with a magic wand. Magic wands were always made out of the wood of a holly tree. It's made out of Hollywood. Get it? Once you understand that Hollywood is a white man's magic over the whole world, and this is why the Europeans were from the north, east, west, and southern Europe. Anything that happens in the north, east, west, or southern, or S, is news, N-E-W-S, N-E-W-S, north, east, west, and south. So anything that happens in the north, east, west, and south is news. That's where we get the idea of news. So you need to understand that Hollywood is the center for the magic of the Druids. Today, the Druids are referred to, the Druids refer to themselves. We call them Druids in history. The Druids referred to themselves back 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago in the Roman Empire, when Rome took over Europe. It confronted the Druidic people. The Druidic peoples called themselves Hebrews. Hebrews, so that today, when we talk about Hebrew and Jewish, they're not Jewish or Hebrew, they are Druids, like Hollywood. The Jews of Hollywood are promoting their magical system of words and terms and symbols that you don't know nothing about, and you just get all involved in it because you came into this world as a baby and you didn't know nothing. And as you grew up, you didn't care to know nothing. You're just out there drinking your beer, watching ball games, and watching your football and baseball and tennis ball. And my God, think about all the different sports that are based on a ball. Ping pong ball, tennis ball, football, soccer ball, bowling ball, anything. Why ball? Why are the balls? Because animals love to play with a ball. Throw the ball out, watch the dogs play with the ball all day afternoon. They'll play all afternoon with the ball. Why? Because animals love to play with a ball. That's why they give us a ball game. Because we just love to go out to the ball game and drink our beer and watch the ball game, the football and the basketball and all the other ball games, because we're so damn stupid we don't know we're being played for animals. We're being treated like animals. Why? Because your masters who own us, they know. They know you don't know what's going on, and you ain't never going to know what's going on. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. So once you wake up and find out, you need to change your thinking. You need to change your lifestyle. You need to do something that nobody ever figured you would ever learn how to do. What you need to do is go back to school and learn how to read and write and think. Take some courses in university, take some courses on logistics, how to logically look at something and question. Don't just go along with something because you heard something, somebody said something. Because one day you're going to wake up when you're 95 years old in an old folks' home, and all the people that you've been listening to all your life, they're all gone. And now you are about ready to go. They're all gone, and you never had a single thought in your head from yourself. You always listen to everybody else's bullshit. You never listen to yourself. You never question nothing. I, on the other hand, as a kid, began questioning everything. I don't buy into anybody's story. I want to do the research myself, and I want to prove it to myself. That's the way to live. Do your own homework. Wake up and realize the world was not built for you. The powers that be in this world already figured out how to control you before you were born. They were controlling your grandma before you were born. They are really controlling the world today because they know 99 and 19% of all the people on the earth that got an IQ of 40. Can't even think enough to work your way out of a paper bag. Haven't got the faintest idea what you're doing, where you're going. When you have a bank account, you're going to the court, you're paying money. You have no idea in the world how the world works. And they're just laughing at you because they know you don't know. But that's why Martin Luther King got in trouble. As long as he was talking about the differences between the colors, between the whites and blacks, that's okay. Go on, rant and rave all you want. But when you start talking about the people who have the money and the people who don't, that's when the money comes in and says, wait a minute, son, you talk about the money now. You messing with the powers that be. We're going to have to deal with you now. You didn't bring that. If you hadn't have brought that up, you'd be okay. Just talk about the blacks and the whites. But when you find out the blacks and the whites don't have no difference at all, there ain't no difference between people at all. Blacks are marrying whites, whites are marrying blacks. There ain't no difference in people. Woman is a woman, a man is a man, period. Children are children, period. So there's no difference in any of us. We're being kept at each other's throat purposely. Why? Because if I, as a white man, happen to go on a vacation to Africa and I get in trouble and the Africans throw me into jail and into prison, I'm the only white guy in a black prison. Everybody else in prison is black except me. Now, the smart thing for me to do is to go around to all the black guys in the prison and lie to them. Tell them, did you hear what he said about your mother? Did you hear what he said about you? And then now I've got this black guy against that black guy. Then I go to another black guy and said, did you hear what he said about your mother? And he said this about your mama. Did you know that? Now I'm getting the blacks to fight each other. That's what I want. I want all of them fighting each other and killing each other and leave me damn well alone. Damn, I had enough of this crap. So just leave me alone and go kill each other. That's what England is doing. England, the British Empire is all over the world causing wars and violence to happen. Go back and watch the James Bond movies, the secret societies of England, and how James Bond operates around the world with British money and British duality, British citizenship. It's an incredible story about how England starts the wars and her brother, America, the U.S., has to go in and do something to put down those wars. That's terrible. Those people being killed over there. We've got to do something to save the little children. We got to go over there and save the people. You ain't saving nobody. You don't want to damn well financed it. And it's your brother in England who went out and caused the war. And then you come in and you're going to help put down the war. You're going to help put it down. You wouldn't have a war to put down if your brothers hadn't gone over there and caused the damn war. And the people don't know. The people in the different lands, they didn't know that was the British who were behind the war. That was the British who founded the Middle East. It's an incredible story of where did Islam come from? Where did the religion of Islam actually, in fact, come from? And why is Islam a corporation? And who owns that corporation? And who controls it out of MI5 and MI6 out of England? Boy, there's a hell of a story for people to wake up to find out the way this world really works. And there ain't going to be too many white folks telling you anything I'm telling you. You ain't going to read it nowhere or see it nowhere. You're going to have once in a while somebody will come along who's got the guts to tell you how the world really works and why America is so powerful. It's so powerful because anytime there's a war, we go in and we kill everybody. There ain't no war. When we go in, we kill everybody on both sides. Shit, we kill the leaders. We kill everybody. Men, women, children, dogs, anybody, whatever it is, we go in and we stop the war. Why? Because we took it over. And so when we leave a country after the war, we damn well own it and we run it. Period. So you need to understand nothing works the way you think it does. Nothing.
Jordan, I have a question. So, breaking the bond said, how do we use the waters in order to financially break away from the system? Can we get out of this maritime law?
No,
That's what I figured. Because it's
there
too
is no
powerful.
way. There is no way out of maritime law because water covers the earth, and so all human creatures are worth money on the world stock market. But unfortunately, nobody seems to understand how this stuff works. I mean, when you talk about Wall Street and all the bankers on Wall Street are crying and wailing about what's going on in there because they're losing money on Wall Street, is that like the Jewish wall, the Wailing Wall in Israel? And the street that runs right up to the wall is called Wall Street. You better go back and check on who's running Wall Street and the connection between what we call Israel and Germany. There's a big connection here that nobody knows about between the Jewish people and the German people. And that's a big story. And once it comes out, it's going to come out one day because I'm going to bring it out. If the gods allow me to continue to live, I'm going to bring out a story that's going to knock you over when you hear it. The connection between what we call the Jewish people and the German people, and the United Nations, and how international banking works, how this whole entire world structure was all set up a long time ago before your grandma was even born. And that's why I've been doing this kind of research for over 60 years. And you need to appreciate that when I say 60 years, that means I have not been working in the corporate world to make a lot of money. I don't own anything. I have nothing because I knew a long time ago if you're going to spend your whole life looking at all the dark secrets and lifting the rocks and seeing all the roaches under the rock and find out who's doing what and how they're doing it in the dark, you're not going to make friends, and you're not going to have a lot of money, and you're not going to have a family. You're not going to have nothing. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. And so I have spent my whole life doing research on how the world actually works. And therefore, today, I own nothing. I have nothing. I've got nothing. And I live on contributions and donations, of which I don't get very much. Why? Because I'm not a famous movie star. I'm just an old man who has been pursuing wisdom and knowledge.
Jordan, quick question. Do you have a cash app?
Say it again.
Do you have a cash app?
A cash app?
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna have to like, okay, we're gonna
If you
try to.
go on my website, Jordan Maxwell Show. You must add the word show, SHOW. Jordan Maxwell Show is my website. So don't go on Jordan Maxwell Show and send me an email and say, Jordan, is this really your website? You damn well it's my website. I'm telling you, you're seeing me. I'm saying my website is jordanmaxwellshow.com. So go on the web to jordanmaxwellshow.com and you will see an advertisement that says Jordan Maxwell Research Society. Click on Jordan Maxwell Research Society. It will take you to my second website. The Jordan Maxwell Research is a major, big website where I'm putting all of the secrets of the world out there for anybody to read and see and listen to all the lectures and the audio and the video lectures, all the secret society symbols and emblems and words and terms and how the world actually works and all the symbols that are fooling you and tricking you. I put it all there on my research society. And so when I have people writing me and calling me and say, Jordan, there's so much out there. Where do I start? I mean, where would I begin? I always say, why don't you begin with me, fool? Begin with me. I'm the one that's done it for 60 years. Hell, I put it out there on the website so a 6-year-old can go on the damn web and read it all. I got all the pictures and the documents and all kinds of stuff on there that is exposing the whole world. All you got to do is go on my website while it's still up, and it may not be up much longer. So if you want to know all the dark stuff that I've been involved in all my life, go on my website, Jordan Maxwell Show.
Jordan, we want to know how to support you. Like some people want to send you donations. So how do we send you support donations? Thank you.
Go on my website to Jordan Maxwell Show. And on the right side, you will see an advertisement that says, if you'd like to support Jordan, click here and make a donation. Or that's the one way, quickly. It's right there on the website on the right-hand side, Jordan Maxwell Show. If you'd like to support Jordan, click here and make a donation. Or if you want to, you can click on Jordan Maxwell Research Society, and you have to make a small donation, a one-time donation for a lifetime subscription of all my work for one-time small donation. But that small donation gives me enough money, instantly gives me enough money to pay my webmaster, to keep the website going, to pay for all the stuff I have to pay for to keep the website up. It all costs money, as you know. It all costs money, and I don't have any. So if you want to go on my website, you can avail yourself of all of my dark secrets that people don't know nothing about. It's all on my website, research website. And it helps me financially if you can do that.
Jordan, and one thing, when we get off, maybe tomorrow, I'll try to help you set up a Cash App. Okay, because it's the 21st century, and Cash App, you get it right away. Okay, so
Yeah.
not tomorrow, Wednesday. Let's talk Wednesday. Okay, so let's continue. So someone, okay, so we answered that question. Let me see if there's any more questions. So that way, when we do interviews, I have people who are like, "How do we support you?" Instead of sending it there, Cash App is instant, right?
Yeah.
And then want to
Well,
go.
it's instant for me too. If you just make your contributions on Jordan Maxwell Show, is an instant. It's a PayPal, but the moment you put the money in, I get it immediately.
Okay, great. Let me say one more disclaimer. Guys, it's not jordanmaxwell.com. Do not go to jordanmaxwell.com. That is not his site. It is
That's right.
jordanmaxwellshow.com. Jordan Maxwell Show. And also, when we were talking, I had to let him know there are a lot of fake Jordan Maxwell websites. Okay, so be aware of this. Jordan Maxwell Show. And we got to show our love and our support for him for bringing us information that no one is bringing us. Okay, Jordan, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off. Thank you.
Well, my point being is that, as you said, there are other websites out there that have my name on them. They use my name because they know people know me, and they sell products under my name, so they're making money off of me. And I'm 80 years old, living by myself in one room. I sleep on the floor, and I got nothing, while other people are making huge sums of money off of me and my name and my face and my picture. But there's only one of me, and I'm not going to be here much longer. I'm 80 years old. I'm not going to be here too much longer. So if you want to help me, go to Jordan Maxwell Show. That's me. And make a contribution. If you just click on the PayPal and make a donation, I get it immediately. And this way I might be able to stay alive for a couple more days.
Okay, and another thing, so Chanelli Laporte says that she believes that you evaded some of the answers to the questions. No, actually, that's me. I'm trying to get all the questions asked, and the main question that I kept getting asked was, how do we get out of this system? And he answered it. We can't because it's global. Okay, maritime law, he explained that we cannot get out of this because they've been doing this for so long and it's global. Every country is a corporation and every religion is a corporation. So, what I say is this: we have to participate. So, please be aware of that. He's not evading the questions, it's me trying to get all the questions up on the screen with a moving screen. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Um,
Well,
that was
somebody
oh,
there's some question. One lady said that I have been answering the questions in a way that is slanting away from what I could say. I would like to say that those people who think I am evading some question, there's only so much I can say publicly, because whether you know it or not, saying things that I know publicly will be great for radio. Everybody will love it if they heard the real story. I could tell you. But in doing so, I have just signed my death certificate. I don't want to die by somebody. I don't want people reading in the paper that Jordan Maxwell committed suicide by shooting himself in the head 3 times, in the back of the head 3 times, and he committed suicide. And it's too bad because we all loved him, but goddamn, we're happy he's gone. No, you need to understand there's certain things I cannot say publicly, and I'm the only white folks out there that's saying anything like I'm saying. And therefore, I don't want to leave this world the hard way. So I'm not trying to evade anything. I'm trying to keep my life alive. I'm trying to stay alive and do what I have to do to help my fellow man wake up as to how the world works. I'm not evading anything. I'm just smart enough to know what I can't say in public. But I can put stuff on my website, on the research website, because that's not public and being protected that way. So if you want to hear the real story, go on my research website. That's where the real stuff is at. And listen to the lectures that are on there. Listen to and look at the pictures and the documents and the research materials that I have on there that you ain't never heard about at all, because nobody that knows is going to tell you nothing. I'm the only guy that's going to tell you what's really going on. And I don't mind saying that because 80 years old and 60 years of work publicly has given me the right to tell you what I think. And I think that you don't know from crap about what's going on. And I'm trying to wake you up and do it in such a way I don't get hurt in the process. Because I could tell you a lot of things about lots of people that you don't know anything about and how it really works, but I would probably not see the sun come up tomorrow. So I got to be careful what I can say in public.
also, there was a former NASA I think he was a NASA scientist. Okay, he came out. He did an interview. He came out. I'm not sure if you know him, Norman Bergrun.
Norman Berglund was a very dear friend of mine. He and I were very, very close.
Is he still alive?
I don't know if he is or not. I know he went into hiding.
Hiding. He went into hiding because he told the world that about the black extraterrestrials. So
That's
you got
right.
Yeah, the moment he released it to the public, like black extraterrestrials, that was above classified information, he had to go into hiding because we were not supposed to know that there were black
That's right.
extraterrestrials. Okay, so
Hmm.
be aware, be aware. People are not trying to evade your question or trying to like, pull one up you. This man has been doing this for over 50 years. He's seen people come and go and die. So
Yep,
he has to protect himself by knowing what he can say and what he can't say. Right. So look up Norman Braun. He had to go into hiding because black people were not supposed to know about the black extraterrestrials.
that's right. There's a lot of things black folks are not supposed to know. And any white person that gets out there and starts talking about it in public, they're not going to be around a whole lot longer. And then one day, the people are going to wake up and say, well, Jordan Maxwell was talking about that 50 years ago. Yeah, but you didn't give a damn 50 years ago. Yeah, now you want to talk to Jordan Maxwell when you see the shit coming down. Now you want to talk to Jordan. Well, he's been dead for a long time. He's in prison. They tortured him till he died. And you didn't give a damn because you're drinking your beer and watching a ball game. So you didn't care. Now he's gone. Now the stuff is happening he's been talking about for 60 years. And now you want to hear Jordan Maxwell. Well, it's about time you wanted to hear him, but he's been gone for a long time. While you were watching basketball, they killed him.
Okay.
So,
Look at Julian Assange. Julian Assange, and then the other one who became a transvestite. I can't remember his name for some reason. Um Julian Assange with WikiLeaks. Again, above top secret information that certain countries were not supposed to know. And those countries were black and brown countries about how the world really works. And they are torturing the the lights out of Julian Assange. His family is saying that it is the worst torture that could be applied on a human being. Okay? So, guys, you got to remember people are not trying to evade questions or trying to one up you or trying to. No, there are things people can say publicly, there are things they can't say publicly. And then on my side, I'm trying to get all the questions in and respect his time because we're over an hour. We're over an hour and we promised to do an hour. I don't want to keep him on too long. Let me see if I can get one more question in. And also, guys, go to his site, support him. Support him. This guy has been doing this before Alex Jones, before there was a truth movement, before there was a conscious community, before there was a wake movement, before there was David Icke and Credo Mutua and Ronald Bernard and your what's this guy who got killed? Phil Schneider.
Phil
Did you know
Schneider.
Phil
They
Schneider?
whacked him. They whacked
Oh,
him. He talked too much in public. He had a big mouth and talked too much. He won't do that no more.
yep.
He
The other
learned his lesson. They killed him.
they killed yep, Phil Schneider, they killed him for revealing what was going on in Area 51.
That's right.
That's in Area 51. You were not supposed to know how many levels and what's in the deepest levels and you know what I mean? So
I've
guys,
been to Area 51. I know all about it, but I'm not talking about things I know.
see, that's how
Because
we got
you don't have to be you don't have to be a neurosurgeon or a scientist to figure out. You better watch your mouth. Is what you better do.
bingo.
I was told that by a highly ranking military man that told me we've been watching you for a long time. And wait till you get a knock on the door at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you go to the door, and there's three officers out there, federal agents, and they say, "Are you Jordan Maxwell?" "Yes." "Step outside, please." I said, "No, I'm not stepping outside." They said, "We have an order here, and we will come in to take you if you don't step outside." So I step outside, and they say, "We're here to tell you, you better watch your mouth. You're talking about things you're not supposed to talk about in public. And we are here to make sure you understand you're not going to do that any longer. You better watch your mouth." So here I am trying to talk to people again to help people to wake up. I'm just an ordinary man pursuing extraordinary knowledge. I don't claim to be any top lawyer or any big shot in the government. I'm just an ordinary guy who happened by chance to be in the company of extraordinary people and have learned a lot of things you've never heard before that I know about. And so I'm happy to try and share with the audience some of the stuff that I know about that I can talk about. I don't know how much longer I'll be here to do it. So there will come a day, I will agree, I'll grant you, there will come a day when people are going to wake up all over the world and say, did you hear about this Jordan Maxwell, what he was talking about? Yeah. Well, where is he? He died of starvation, fool. While you were out there watching basketball games, he gave his life to you to help you understand what was going on in the world, and you didn't give a damn. You didn't care. It had nothing to do with your ball game and your beer drinking and your partying, and you were voting for this and you were voting for that, and never realizing nobody gives a damn about who you vote for. The system is already operating. It's a big system, and it's a big world we live in, and most people are not going to spend 60 years researching it like I have. So I will guarantee you when I leave here, and it may not be too long from now, thank God. But when I leave here, I'm going to leave with a lot of information you will never hear. I could tell you things you would not believe. And I could tell you some stuff that I personally was involved in with black leadership that you don't know nothing about. These black leaders. I was there. I saw what they did. I saw what they said. I could tell you some things about black leaders that will turn your hair white. You have no idea in the world what I could tell you about black leaders. I'm not about to because I know about that the blacks have their own mafia. They have their own organized criminal syndicates. And I know all about them. I've been there. I've seen them. I know what they do and I know what they're capable of doing. And I know I'm not capable of fighting a whole system, a criminal system, and not me. I'm not going to fight nothing. I just try and keep my mouth shut and hope to stay alive for a little bit longer. But there will come a day when I will be gone and people will wake up and then they will want to know. And by that time, everything I've said will be wiped away and nobody will be able to have access to it. Nobody will ever be able to hear what I could have told them. And what I'm trying to tell them now, nobody's ever going to hear it. I'm gone. And when I leave this world, I know that's what's going to happen. Anytime somebody who is very knowledgeable dies and leaves this world, his work is destroyed instantly. We don't know what Nikola Tesla knew and what he could have done. We just got a few little incidents of what Nikola Tesla was able to do, and that's brains. That's transforming. Boy, when you find out what that guy was really into and what he was really up to, his name is Nikola Tesla. Hell, they got cars today called Tesla. If you find out who he was and what he was doing and what he was into and how much he didn't tell you, when the stuff he did blew your mind, yeah, but he didn't tell you the really interesting stuff he was into. That's the same thing that's going to happen when people find out about me. Oh, we want to know about, where's Jordan Maxwell? He's dead. He's dead and gone. You didn't give a damn about him when he was alive, so why worry about him now? The information he could have given you, if you had been smart enough to listen, you would have learned something. And then you could teach your children how to think and teach your friends and your neighbors and your children how to think and how the world works. That's what I wanted to do.
Mr. Maxwell, I have two more questions and then we're going to let you go because I know you have another interview. One question from Critical Music says, ask him to break down the meaning of Christ and his disciples. And then the second question is, how did you learn all of this information? And
Yeah,
guys, before you answer, please go to his site, support. My channel is really good with this. Go to his site, support him, sign up, get the research, learn it, because the way these people operate is as soon as the person's gone, they erase everything or they send in, black ops to steal everything. You know how it goes. Go ahead,
you're
Mr.
right.
Mr.
What
Max.
was the first question again?
Break down the meaning of Christ and his disciples.
Yeah. First of all, in order to do that, I got to ask you a question. Who owns the sun? Every morning when that orb comes up, it lights up the whole world. But my question is, who owns it? Africans don't own the sun. Europeans don't own the sun. The Russians and the Chinese, they think they own everything. They don't own the sun. There ain't nobody on this earth owns the sun. But that's the question. Who owns the sun? Well, theoretically, if you're religious at all, if you don't have anything else to depend on but your theology and your philosophy, I suppose you could say God owns the sun. That makes sense. Well, if God owns the sun, and there's only one sun, there's not five of them, there's only one. So God only has one son. He's the only begotten son. He's God's son. And the Bible says God's son is the light of the world. Of course, the sun is the light of the world. What else lights the world if it's not the sun? So once you understand, when you talk about Jesus and God's son, you're talking about sun worship. That's why Christians go to worship on Sun Day, S-U-N Day, not S-O-N, S-U-N Day. Sunday is the worship of the sun. Our Lord, his name was Baal, B-A-A-L. Baal in Latin, Baal in the old Phoenician Canaanite language was the Lord. And so when we hear the word Lord, Christ the Lord, where did the word Christ come from? It goes all the way back to Hindu. Christianity is nothing more than a latest rendition of Hindu religion. The Hindus gave us Christianity, and the Hindus gave us Judaism. The Jewish religion comes from Hindu. The Christian religion comes from Hindu. And Islam comes directly out of Hindu. But people don't know that. They don't realize that Judaism and Christianity and Islam are three major religions. Why three major religions? Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Osiris, Isis, Horus, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Always three. All the gods of the ancient world were triune gods. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, it becomes Jesus, Mother, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So you need to understand that the religions of this world all go back to Hindu, all go back to ancient Egypt, which was North Africa, goes back to ancient Africa. It's an extraordinary story of where our religions have come from. And this is why Jesus is referred to as God's Son, the light of the world. Of course, the sun is the light of the world. Well, yeah, but he is our risen Savior. Of course, it's your risen Savior. If the sun don't come up, you're dead in 3 weeks. So that's why the sun is your risen Savior. Because if it don't come up, there's going to be no food growing, no children growing. There ain't going to be nothing growing. It's going to be freezing cold real soon. If the sun don't come up and warm the earth every day, we're going to die of starvation. In 3 weeks, the world of mankind will be gone. Why? Because we need to have the sun rise. It does rise every morning because Jesus, God's Son, said he would return, and so he does. He returns every morning about 5:30. And he has 12 helpers. He has 12 disciples. That's right, the 12 brothers of Joseph. The 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 major prophets of the Bible. Look in the Bible and you will see 12 is everywhere. Why 12? Because there are only 12 months of the year. And those 12 signs of the zodiac. The 12 signs of the zodiac are the 12 apostles, the 12 brothers of Joseph, the 12 tribes of Israel. There were no tribes of Israel. It's just a story. There was no Moses. So if you talk about Moses did this or Moses did that, you need to go back and do your homework before you go out in public and talk about Moses, because everybody who's educated knows there was no Moses. Moses never existed. And all of those characters in the Bible, they never existed. So there was no ancient Israel. So don't be talking about no ancient Israel because there was no ancient Israel. It never existed. There was Africa and the Africans existed, but there ain't no ancient Israel. It's an incredible story about where our religions and our belief systems have come from and how much we don't know and how we've been lied to and tricked and deceived into believing things that we don't even begin to understand. So maybe one day we ought to talk on your show about religion, where it comes from, and what it really means.
Oh, wonderful. So, last question, guys. Jordan has to go. He has another meeting. Everyone, give Mr. Maxwell an round of applause. This was an incredible interview. And also, please go to his website, Jordan Maxwell Show. Support him. Get the knowledge. Go there. Get the research. Study how this world works because it's not how we think it does. Last question. Mr. Maxwell said he wants to come back on and do some more interviews. So we're going to have him back on. We're going to talk about religion, reptiles, because people want to
Everything,
know.
all of it.
They want to know, do reptilians exist? And why is Bill Gates blocking out the sun? Why is Bill Gates blocking out the sun? And do reptilians exist? Let us know.
Yes, there's so many things I could talk about. There's so many different subjects that I've spent 60 years studying. Most people haven't spent 60 minutes. I've spent 60 years. And that's why most people hearing me have something. The problem is cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance means when you are so highly intelligent and you're so damn smart and well read and highly intelligent, and when you hear something you ain't never heard before, the first thing you think is that guy must be crazy because I am the smartest guy that ever walked on this damn earth. And I ain't never heard nothing like this. So he must be out of his mind. He's crazy. Why? Because I ain't never heard it. Well, the news for the day is you are not the smartest person on the earth. You ain't never been the smartest person on the earth. And from this point, you ain't ever going to be the smartest person on the earth. The real smart ones ain't telling you nothing. They're keeping their mouths shut and going to the bank and living high in their jet planes and their girlfriends in the Bahamas and living in their $1 million mansions, and they ain't telling you nothing. You just going out and do what you always do: drink your beer and watch your ball games and stay out of the way of the important people that run this planet. And we'll hurt you if you don't. And so, one of my dearest friends in this world was Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was a dear friend of mine. We used to give lectures together. And Dick Gregory and I, we talked a lot in private about how the world really works. So, if you're really interested in following the dark side of the world you live in and wanting to know all the secrets that the old man could tell you, go on my website to Jordan Maxwell Show and join my research society, Jordan Maxwell Research Society. A one time small contribution for a lifetime of subscription, a lifetime subscription. Anyway, just know that when I leave this world, I'm going to leave this world with a lot of knowledge. It was very difficult for me to learn and very difficult to live with. But I live with a lot of knowledge that you'll never know, things that you've never been told and you will never be told. Anyway,
All right, Mr. Maxwell, thank you so much. This was a great interview. He's such a
thank you.
wonderful person, guys. And he's going to be back on. He said he'd love to come back on. We're going to have him back on. We need to support him. Get the knowledge, guys. We need to support people like Jordan Maxwell, okay? And respect the fact there are things that he can talk about on air, and there are things that he can't. And also, I'm trying to navigate with the questions here, and I'm trying my best to do a good job. All right, so let's give Mr. Maxwell an round of applause. And when we next show, you know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about the reptiles. The next show. How's that? The reptilians.
I'd love
Yeah.
to. I'd love to talk about the reptilians. I've given lectures on this subject. I could tell you many stories about the reptile aliens who are here on the earth. I could tell you many stories you've never heard before. I'd
And
love to do that.
do they run this planet, Mr. Maxwell?
You can bet on it. You can bet on it. I could show you things with your own eyes, seeing it, you wouldn't believe.
Now you know what runs this planet, guys. All right.
Prince Charles of England was on 60 Minutes quite a few years ago. And I have it. I have it saved. I saved the interview. And he was talking on 60 Minutes, Prince Charles, and they asked him, and 60 Minutes guy asked Prince Charles something he didn't want to hear. He didn't want to talk about. And when the 60 Minutes guy asked Prince Charles a question, Prince Charles hissed. He hissed like a snake. And it really was very obvious. He was hissing like a snake at this man. And it scared the guy. The guy backed off. What is he doing? He's not arguing. He's hissing like a snake. What does that tell you? When I hear people talking about reptilians, yeah, I know about reptilians. I know who they are. I was
Right.
talking about reptilians back in 1960. Some 60 years ago, I was talking about reptilians and extraterrestrials and UFOs and how humans got on the earth and who created us and all that stuff I've been talking about for years. I'm out there on the web. All you got to do is just go out to Jordan Maxwell Show. I'm out there on the web and go
All
and
right.
put my name in on YouTube and watch all my lectures.
All right.
Again,
Wonderful.
I want to say thank you, and let's do it again another time.
All right. Probably if you have time, maybe next week we'll do a show on the reptilians. Yeah. And we
Yeah,
got to get Mr. Credo Mutwa. They want to get Credo Mutwa on here.
I'll
All
try the
right.
best I can.
Thank you so much. We know Mr. Ike is busy. So, all right, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye
Everyone,
bye.
say thank you to Mr. Jordan. Thank you. Have a great interview.
You,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks. All right. Okay, that was awesome, awesome, awesome. That was wonderful, guys. What do you guys think? That was a great, incredible interview. So, guys, thank you so much. So, we have someone on the line, The Awakening. This is the second part of the show. We went a little bit longer, but it was so good. I was so happy to have him. This was an incredible interview. Okay, so the second part of the show is Marine Kingdom experiences. So, Mr. Maxwell, let us know that the reptilians are real and they run this planet. So, if the reptilian is real, what about the Marine Kingdom? So, we have the Awakening on the show, and let's bring the Awakening in and see what they have to say. Hello, hello, hello. The Awakening, are you there?
Yes.
You
Hello.
probably stepped away from the camera because we
Can you hear me?
wonderful. Okay,
Okay.
yes, I can. Yes, I can. All right. So, thank you so much for being on. This is the second part of the show. The first part was Mr. Maxwell laying the foundation for why the world is controlled by the water. Now we're going into those waters. Do you have an experience with the marine kingdom? Have you heard anyone who had an experience with the marine kingdom? And if you do, email me so I can get you onto the broadcast, The Awakening.
All right. So, yes, so I was born in Angola, raised in the Congo, and in those regions, there's a lot of talk about Mami Wata. We know Mami Wata is real. We don't take it as mythology. There's no such thing. We know these things exist. So, and anybody who lives in Africa, who's ever lived in Africa, they would tell you, you. A lot of people are even afraid to say Mami Wata because of the stories or things that they've even seen. So back in let me see, back in I want to say 2010. Yes, back in 2010, I went on a church retreat. I am not religious. I stepped out of religion um, a few years back um, because of personal dealings. But anyways, I went on a retreat, a church retreat. My youth leader, she was also from the Congo as well. She invited a young lady to come with us. Also, all went together. Each group had their own youth leader, and it was so ironic how my youth leader, she was from the Congo, and the girl who she invited was also from the Congo. It was weird, but we all went, and as we were going on the trip, I felt off. I felt something was just really off, and I couldn't really put my finger on it, like, like what's really going on. But I just knew either going to happen or something was happening. And growing up here in the United States, like, a lot of the things that you take in, a lot of the ancestral knowledge that's been passed down to us, if you're from Africa and you were raised here in the United States, a lot of that stuff you kind of throw out the window and you take it as a joke, because everybody else around here in the US, they take it as a joke. They don't believe in a whole lot of stuff, especially when it comes to mystical and things of the unknown. So I always took it to account. Like, I knew spirits and things were happening behind scenes, but I like everybody else here, I didn't really take it on. So back to the story. The young lady, she was there. She was calm. Nothing off yet, but I think it was on the third. I want to say it was like the third day, because we were at the retreat was held at a hotel. On the third day, the pastor and the youth leaders, we all held like a spiritual gathering where we were singing songs, and we were doing a lot of praise and worship, and we were discussing a lot of things, and there was a lot of prayers involved or whatnot. So in the middle of the prayer, the young lady, out of nowhere, she just got up and was like, "No, stop it. Stop doing that." Like, we were in the middle of prayer, mind you. She just told everybody to stop doing what you're doing. And she was like, "No, stop it. Stop calling on that name," because he kept calling the name of, JC. And we were looking at her strange, like, what is wrong with her? Like, calm down, sit down, where, this is, I guess, sacred time. Like, just calm down. And she was just having, and running everywhere. Like, we were chasing after her because we didn't know where she was. We didn't know where she was
Awakening.
going, and if she was about to hurt herself. And we thought that at first it was maybe like a demonic possession or whatnot. But what made it interesting was she ran out and went downstairs, and we found her laying by the pool. And when the rest of us, like me and my youth leader, we came to her, and she was actually going to submerge herself into the water. We pulled her back so she wouldn't do that. The rest of the crowd, they came down, and they were looking like, what is going on? Me and my youth looked for Congo. We knew
Awakening.
what was going on.
Awakening. Can you hear me?
We tried to pull back. Can you hear me?
Okay, you have to start over because can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. When you started speaking, after you said the name JC, everything was cut off from there. So you have to
Oh
find a
God.
stable place. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. You have to start over from there because everything was cut off. So let's start from
Okay.
they started saying the name JC, and then what happened?
Right. Yes. So the pastor kept calling on the name of JC, and some of us were even speaking it. She got up and she started saying, "Shut up. No, stop it. Stop doing that." And we turned around and looked at her like, "What is wrong with this girl? Like, are you okay?" She just kept yelling and screaming and started talking in patterns and started talking in circles. We thought that it was a demonic possession until she started running around the hotel like a mad woman. And me and the other youth leader, we chased after her because we know when it comes to demonic possessions, because that's what we thought, they sometimes they can use you to harm yourself. So she ran out. We ran after her. Uh, she ran outside towards the pool, and she was laying there like a mermaid. And before she can even submerge, because she was about to, when I say she was about to plunge in, she was going to plunge in. She was about to submerge herself into the water. We actually ran to her and tried to pull her back and pull her away from submerging herself into the waters. And as soon as that happened, me and my youth leader, we looked at each other and we knew right was
Awakening.
knew it, and she kept canceling the retreat.
Awakening.
Yes,
Awakening. You were
yes.
cut off again.
Okay,
You were cut off again. The moment she said, you looked at the youth leader and you knew it was completely cut off. Go ahead.
okay. Me and the youth leader looked at each other, and yes, we knew that this was not demonic possession. Like we knew, we knew. And everybody else who came dashing down to see what was going on, in their minds, even in the pastor's mind, he's thinking this girl is demonically possessed. And we're looking at him like, no, 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 no. This is a whole different, this is on a whole nother level. So she was fighting us. She was very violent, just very blasphemous. Like she was just uttering curse words and just it, I don't know. But anyways, we ended up taking her home. We had to drive all, because we're from Charlotte, North Carolina. So we had to drive her all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina. We took her to the church, and the pastor started to, he grabbed the anointing oil, and we started, me and the youth leader and the pastor, we went back. Everybody else stayed. Pastor's wife stayed. But we went back to the church. We started to pray for her. We were speaking in tongues, and oh my goodness, that made it even worse because she was just like, you can't do this. Like, just speaking in a place of authority and saying that, um, she's over everyone, and she's like, this is her body, and this is where she belongs. Um, we couldn't handle it. The pastor couldn't handle it because, like I said, as she was yelling and screaming and saying things out of the ordinary, trying to bite. We actually ended up calling her parents to come and pick her up and take her. Um, and then after her parents came and took her, she started acting normal again. So I shook my head, and I was just the pastor was still confused, but me and the youth leader, we just looked at like, yeah, we know what this is. So going back to the retreat, everybody was, asking her, is she okay? Like, is she demonically possessed? And we just told everybody, we'll explain the next day what's going on, and everybody went to their rooms. But so the ones who were a part of our group, we actually ended up sharing the same hotel room. So there was maybe like three of us. So it was a youth leader, and then no, three of the ladies. Um, so we sat down in the hotel and we discussed what was going on, because one of the young ladies, she was not from the Congo, and she didn't know what she was scared, and she's never experienced that before. So she was asking, like, what was wrong with her, what really happened. And so my youth leader, she explained how there are beings and forces that are in the sea, and they can come in human form. Some are here on earth in human form, and some are even possessed by the spirits of these people, these beings in the sea. So apart from that, she gave her own story of how when she lived in the Congo, she went to her uncle's house for like a vacation, and her uncle had a pool in the backyard, and the pool, I guess, they will go in and they would swim every night, and they would leave the pool. And my youth leader would say that after maybe around 3 a.m., she would wake up in around that time, and she would go outside because she would hear people laughing, like, people laughing and splashing, just playing in the water. And she's like, she goes and looks in the window, and she's like, there's nobody here. Why am I hearing people laughing and splashing water as if people are in the pool right now and there's nobody here? And so her uncle was telling her, because she went back to her uncle the next morning, and she was telling her uncle what she was experiencing, and her uncle was just looking at her like, you're crazy, like, there's no such thing. You're probably imagining things. And so she looked at her uncle like, no, I'm really hearing people in that pool. So then they called in a pastor from there, and the pastor came in, and I guess they were praying over the house and everything. And when that happened, I think there one that same night that they did what they did, they came out. Her uncle was present as well, and exactly what she was hearing. She was hearing other beings in the pool playing and splashing water. They Man, I'm telling you, these things are real. It's not a joke. It is not a joke. Um, I I honestly, since that day of the young lady at the retreat, I can never say that there's no such thing as Mami Wata. Mami Wata is real and she's present. And there are other beings in the sea that are very much present. There was a church that I used to go to, and it was actually wasn't a real church. It was more of a place where we used to go to, where all the Africans would come in together, and we called it combat spiritual, which is in French for spiritual combat. It was a place where we went to in secret, and we would pray and break down demonic forces and any forces that come against us, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in this place, um, I honestly, the things that I saw, um, snake people are real. Um, there's a lot of things are real. I will say the amount of stories while we were there at that spiritual combat spiritual, it was unusual. There were people barking like dogs because they had I guess their bodies were um, possessed by the dog spirits. I mean, there were just so much going on. There were dreams I would dream while I was there of people in that church trying to kill me. I mean, it was a lot. From there I know for a fact that things are at place, and there are things beyond our own knowledge. Like I don't I respect I respect African spirituality wholeheartedly. Um, yeah. There was a guy, actually. I know I'm going off topic, but you were saying how in Trinidad there were trees that, what is it? What did they call it? What what was the name of the tree in Trinidad that you were
It's
talking
the name of
about?
the tree. It's the name of the
The
guardian of
garden,
the
yes,
forest.
the
Yeah,
forest, yes.
Papa. Hmm.
Right. So in Africa, we also have the evil forest, and there was a man at the place who would who came to the place that I was talking about, Combat Spiritual, and he was talking about how he went into the forest, one of the forests in Africa, and he walked past a tree, a very big tree, and while he walked past it, he heard the tree speak to him. He turned around and looked everywhere, and he thought he was imagining things, but so then he walked away, and the tree spoke to him again. And when he turned around, it didn't even hesitate to watch him walk away again. It actually literally spoke to him while he was just standing there and looking at the tree. So these things are real. They are real. I've had dreams of I've had outer body experiences seeing demonic presences, and that name JC does not work. It does not work. I remember one time, one of these spirits who attacked me, and I called on that name of JC, and it continued to attack me, and I was so confused. Like, I'm using that name because it says that it has power. That name has no power, none whatsoever, none. It has no power. We as African people need to get away from Christianity because we have no power on this earth. Period. None. Not with we have no power without religion. We have no power with any religion. We have to go back to our spirituality because our spirituality has force. African spirituality has force. That's why they have to get us away from it.
Excellent, excellent. This was a wonderful discussion. What Jordan Maxwell was talking about. So Jordan Maxwell, the understanding of why the laws for trade and money and banking and commerce and finance is governed by the sea. But then the reason why I wanted to do go into the sea is because the laws are the surface, you see? They're not going to tell you that when they make these laws for money regarding the sea, it's they're actually making contracts with the kingdoms that are there. These places and these kingdoms and these entities are real. Sorry about that. Okay? They're real and they govern this planet. They govern this planet. All right, guys. So if no one else wants to call in, this is a 2 hour show. It is long, long, long. All right, guys. I think Awakening, I want to tell you so much for giving us an understanding. And we're probably going to do a part two. If anyone wants to come on, really want to come on and talk about your experiences with the sea kingdom, okay? So we got the basis of the laws, okay? The laws of this planet are for the sea. But the question is, why the sea and we live on the land? Because the oceans cover 80% of this planet. We are 80% water. We are created in water. We were water beings before we were land beings. We were aquatic beings before we were land beings. And then we have the awakening who came in and tell us, look, guys, these things are real. They're not mythology. They're not fairy tale. We have to move out of the two-dimensional, three-dimensional world that they have trapped us in, the matrices that they trapped us in, and they tell us we're only two-dimension or you're only allowed to see three-dimensionally. No, there are more dimensions here, and we have to be able to see these things. We have to be able to move higher than 3D, higher than 3D. Okay? When you're at the bottom, you got to be able to move and think and see higher than 3D. And that's what I'm trying to do. And don't let anyone tell you that everything is physical. No, there's a reason why money is water and why it's water. What are they really making a contract with? And why? Why the sea? Right? All right, guys. Awakening, I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for having the patience to wait. This was an amazing live stream, guys. And keep me uplifted. Keep your orations for me. And we're moving and we're going to try to get Credo Mutua. Okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to get Credo Mutua. And I'm probably going to bring back Mr. Maxwell on. And we're going to go into what controls this planet. Okay, what really controls this planet. All right. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. Guys, this is awesome. This was a great live stream. Thank you. And to all of you Stingeros Awakening, thank you so much. Okay. Have a great evening. Okay. Guys, and to all of you who were here and who actually hit the like button, thank you so much. But I need to know why we have 249 watching with only 206 likes. Get the like button up. Let's get the video shared. And the next one, we're going to really try to get Credo Mutua on. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a fantastic interview, and I'm gonna try to get you these kinds of interviews. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and have a great one. Bye.